Have you been traumatized? Have you been in a traumatic work environment, relationship, and you are wondering how you take your power back from this experience? If so, this video is for you. My name is Marissa Price. I am a liberation coach for Black women and femmes. I am a social worker. I am a healer. I am an educator. And on my channel, I create a safe space for Black women and femmes to share our stories, to share resources, to share our experiences, because we don't have enough safe spaces to do that. How do you reclaim your power after a traumatic experience? I think one of the first ways to do it that I have found to be helpful for me is to externalize the shame, to take the shame that we have been taught to internalize, especially being socialized as women, to take that shame inward, right? To think about what we have done, what we said, how we acted. And that tends to really eat away at our self-confidence. It makes us question our voice going forward. So one of the first ways that you can begin to reclaim your power is to externalize what happened to you, to literally place the blame on the perpetrator, on the oppressor, on the villain. And it's important to identify these people. And a lot of the times I'll recommend on my channel journaling. Journaling can be a powerful way to start to tell yourself the truth, even if you're not ready to tell anyone else the truth. It's important that you know the truth for yourself. Who hurt you? Really sitting with that question, who harmed you? Who was responsible for the harm that was done to you? Name them. Name them, list them out, and say everything that they did to you. So many times we are told to ask what we could have done. And a lot of times the answer is nothing. We don't have to play a role in a situation in which we're harmed. A lot of the times we enter into situations, relationships with the best of intentions. And so this saying or this feeling that we have a part to play in it, not true. Not true. And there is room for self-reflection, of course, of growth, of things to look out for when you encounter relationships or environments like this in the future. There's absolutely space for that. But to say that you played a role in the reason why you were harmed, I reject that. Because I know that there are perpetrators out here. There are people who want to do harm. And unfortunately, when you encounter those people, a lot of us, we're not prepared. But that doesn't mean that you take blame on yourself. That person took advantage of that. That's their fault. The blame rests with them. And one of the ways that I have been talking about on my channel, ways that we can take our power back, as I have shared my experience of recovering from being in a very toxic work environment and really questioning my abilities, my skills, and just being at the point where I'm tapping back into those through things like externalizing the shame, putting the blame on the people who lied to me, who brought me in to do something that it wasn't in good faith. That has been so tremendously healing because now I can reclaim those parts of myself that I cut off to survive that environment. Because it was never my fault. And I want you to know, if you are sitting with that shame, if you're sitting with that blame, I want you to understand that too. It wasn't your fault what happened to you. The fact that you survived, that you are here learning, healing, when the burden should not be placed on you to heal from how you were harmed, but yet here you are. Learning different resources, right? Getting different things to improve your life. Taking that blame off of yourself. That's powerful. That's powerful. And you deserve to be celebrated for that. And one of the ways that I'm working with Black women now, right, as a liberation coach, helping us reclaim our self-confidence and our self-esteem from environments that have tried intentionally, deliberately, because this is not an accident, to break our self-confidence, to make us question our voices, because they know how powerful we are. They know that we can see things, right? A lot of us have gifts. A lot of us have sacred gifts. of recognizing and seeing things others cannot, of hearing messages. And that makes us so powerful in these spaces where the truth is not welcomed. And so we begin to internalize it, especially if you are isolated, if you are by yourself. No one else is speaking up on your behalf. You're fighting these battles by yourself. You may start to go inward and experience feelings of depression, anxiety, not wanting to be here anymore. These are all very real things. And so the more that you can take that first step to externalize what happened to you, again, naming the people who harmed you. One of the ways in living in an oppressive system, in a world that has been colonized, we're given the message that we must take some blame in any interaction in which we're harmed. That's false. That's false. And that works right into the oppressor's hands, because all of a sudden the accountability is not solely on them when it should be. They're the ones who harmed us. So the more that you can sit with that, reflect on how you may have internalized what happened to you, how you may have thought that it was your fault, that you could have done something different, that you should have said it differently. You should have dimmed your light a little bit, softened your voice. Absolutely not. We need your voice. We need your light. There was a reason it was given to you, bestowed upon you, because the world needs you just as you are. And as we begin to heal and reclaim those parts of ourselves, we realize that we were whole this entire time. And that's the reason why people who are in pieces try to shatter us as well. But we can put our pieces back together. There's still hope. There's still so much power in that. So if you are looking for someone to help you through that process, I am a master level social worker. I'm a Black woman social worker. I think that's important to emphasize, right? Because I have a rooting in Black liberation. I have a background in Black studies. I am focused on bringing my skill set to assist my community, especially Black women, in reclaiming the parts of ourselves that we have lost along the way, so that we can put the pieces back together and realize how powerful we were this entire time. And that's why we're often viewed as threats in these environments, again, where truth is not welcomed, where what we're able to see and perceive is viewed as a threat, as a threat. And so I think the more of us who are able to tap back into our gifts, the inherent things that we came here with, understanding why that made us a threat in these toxic environments, living again in a colonized world where we are taught that our voice doesn't matter because it's so powerful. They wouldn't tell us these things if our voices were not powerful. Right? So that is one of the main ways that you can begin to take your power back. If someone has harmed you, if you have been in a harmful environment. Another way is realizing that you were whole again this entire time. Going back to who you were before this experience, really reflecting, taking time to journal, to record voice notes on your phone. Giving yourself time and space to reflect on the things that you like to do, the things that you were good at, the things that brought you joy. These are important. Who you were, what you spoke up about, the gifts that you have and how you express them. Before you entered into this toxic environment, relationship that tried to steal your power from you, it didn't work. It didn't work because you're here now reclaiming those parts. So all of those attempts to steal that essence from you, to try to break you, those failed. And so please celebrate yourself for even getting to this point, right? Taking time to reflect on all of those things that make you so special. getting back to who you were before that experience, and realizing, sitting with the fact that you'll likely, like, it may have changed you. That's something I've had to sit with too. I'm changed after this experience. I'll never be able to get back to the person I was before I experienced this traumatic event. And sometimes that's hard. That's really hard to sit with and allow space and room for anger and grief around this feeling that you will never be the same person again. But as just with a mosaic, right, you can take those pieces that may have been broken and put them back into something even more beautiful. That's possible. That is possible. So sitting with that, reflecting on who you were, and realizing that you have the power and you have the agency to begin to reclaim those parts. Even now, even after that experience, the fact that you are here learning, healing, taking the brave steps of healing, because healing is not easy. It's not always pretty. But the fact that you're doing that, you have the power to begin to put those pieces back through reflection, right? Another way to begin to take your power back is realizing the systems that we live in. We live in oppressive systems. And recognizing that you may have encountered oppression at multiple angles. And it's not fair. And it's not right that you have to experience that. Right? Especially for Black women dealing with sexism, misogyny, anti-Blackness. Right? We know that the issues of colorism, texturism, featureism are very real as well. And that impacts what we experience in the world, how people perceive us, the ways that people try to chip away at our self-confidence, make us question our self-worth, the reason why we're on earth. So then we begin to question, well, should I really be here? Am I really worthy? Yes. We are living in oppressive systems that are constantly trying to take away our agency, to make us doubt our brilliance. So recognizing what we live in, a colonized world, a world affected by enslavement for centuries, that we're still processing, right? The trauma of enslavement. And if you have any interest in the field of epigenetics, right? Trauma living in our DNA, literally, from what our ancestors have experienced. This is the world we're living in, an oppressive world that doesn't want to see us lean into our power, because they know that once we do, watch out. Watch out. So again, if you are in this process of healing, of liberating yourself from the trauma, the shame that you may have internalized from what you experienced, I would love to work with you. I am, again, a liberation coach. I am a master level social worker, helping Black women and femmes reclaim our self-confidence, lean into our self-worth, recognize our gifts once again so that we can have our voices back. Right? And the more that of us who are able to speak when we are ready about our experiences, the more links we can see and how similar what we're experiencing in so many of these environments, how similar they are, right? So the link here is on the screen. I will link it in the description section as well. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel if you are interested in this type of content going forward. I take a decolonial approach to healing, which means I am not operating in the therapeutic setting. That is a disclaimer as well. This is not a substitute for therapy, but I can provide you with therapeutic resources. But really getting back to the ways that we healed before colonization. Colonization is recent in human history. And there were ways and there were practices that we utilized to heal, to understand what we experienced, to reclaim ourselves. And so that is the approach I take as a liberation coach for Black women and femmes. Again, I would love to work with you if you are on this journey. The link will be in the description section. But thank you so much for watching. And please remember that you have the power to take back, right? Take back yourself from the traumatic experience that you went through. And I'm so proud of you. Okay, y'all. Until next time, bye.